All right, we are connecting. What's good, everybody? What's good? We're gonna start this up probably in about 2 minutes tops for you guys. Right. Forgive me if I'm a little silent here, but if you're just tuning in, we're gonna start in about 2 minutes. 2 minutes, guys. Okay. Anybody that's just tuning in, we're gonna be starting in about 2 minutes. Okay. It doesn't get easier, I'll tell you that. It doesn't get easier. As long as I've been doing the show, we've been at this now since 2011. Doesn't get easier. And we've covered quite a few deaths over the years. Doesn't get easy. Okay. We're starting in about 30 seconds, guys. 30 seconds. There we go. We're starting in about 15 seconds, y'all. About 15 seconds. I'm actually going to leave that on. I'm just messing around with some background settings. All right, guys, we're good. We're good on that note. Doesn't get easier. I wish it did. I really wish it did. All right. What's going on, guys? Lee here. So, we're here tonight, Thursday night, September 2nd, 2021. Not a good way to kick off the month of September. But for those of you that was with us on our Wednesday night show, then you already know, obviously, what's been going on within the past 24 hours and everything. But it still just, it doesn't make sense. I'm still trying to put together what all had happened. I am, and I'm sure, like many of you, you all are still pretty WTF. You all are still pretty shocked over the news as well. And I think for the next little bit that I'm live on here, maybe together we can kind of have this nice therapeutic session among us here. Nice little gathering where we all can just kind of vent and just talk shit out, maybe talk about how we're feeling and everything, and go from there. Rest in peace, Daffney. I cannot stress that enough. Rest in peace, Daffney. My thoughts, my prayers, condolences, everything, the whole 9 yards goes with the family. It really, really does go with the family. And I definitely want to send a particular special shout out to those that may be suffering in silence with some type of, whether it's mental anxiety, illness, just if you're going through some type of a struggle right now, please know that you are not alone. You are not alone. There is help out there. All you got to do is just reach out. And, what's so tragic about the passing of Daffney is that what she did on social media, she was desperately crying for help. She was pleading for help. And at the same time, she was throwing in the towel. I know that's kind of weird to process when you think about that, but two things can be said. That's true. And it's just, ooh. Now, let me just rewind this back just a little bit. We're staying on topic, but let's really provide some context here. We were here 24 hours ago. And, man, AEW Dynamite was on. And I was distracted probably during the last 45 minutes to an hour of the show. Because I had just saw the news start coming about with Daffney. So by about maybe around the 9 p.m. Eastern hour is when things just really started to grow on social media. And I can't, for those of you that maybe were not on social media on Wednesday, it was really weird just seeing how it morphed on social media. It was really weird seeing how the attention had turned from your typical Wednesday night, just, okay, people are talking about mainly Dynamite. Maybe there's a little talk about NXT or whatever, but the primary focus is the chatter amongst the wrestling community, Dynamite, AEW, CM Punk. I mean, that pretty much was it. And then to just watch it morph into Daffney, you're going, wait, what's going on with Daffney? And all of a sudden, you just started seeing random, if you follow enough people, you start seeing just random posts on your little timeline, right? Like before you even go out of your way to look up somebody's profile particular that maybe you like to go to them directly, check out all their posts. You know how you just open up your Twitter and everybody was just, at least for me, I don't know how it was for you guys, but everybody was just, is Daffney okay? Is Daffney okay? What's going on with Daffney? And to try to piece together what all was going on. Again, those of you that were with us on the Wednesday night show, you know exactly what was going on. I mean, we literally came on the air on that Wednesday show just WTF. I was still trying to piece as much information together as much as humanly possible, trying to figure out, get some type of news for you guys, find out what was going on and everything. And full disclosure, I want to say this right at the very beginning. I am not monetizing this video whatsoever. So please, when I say that what I'm doing right now, we're truly doing a tribute. And this is just straight up from the heart. And this is just for all of us to just grieve, mourn together, celebrate life. Most importantly, I'm not making any money off of this. I'm not doing this for clicks. I'm not doing this for hits. As a wrestling fan, Daffney's work over the years meant that much to me as a human being. So I'm not making any money off of this, unlike some of the sick bastards that's out there, and they know exactly who they are, that went and had her shit recording, okay? Because they realize, oh man, for them in their sick, twisted, warped fucking mind, These individuals felt that, oh my God, this is a gold mine right here. I'm going to get me a boatload of fucking clicks. I'm going to get me a boatload of subscribers. Oh man, my channel is going to be the most talked about. Wrestling websites are going to be mentioning my site and everything. These individuals know exactly who they are. I could not bear to even stomach looking at the videos that she put out there. I refuse to. I'm not going to. Because I have respect. I'm not going there. To each its own. Me personally, I'm not going there. If you are as disgusted as I am, and understand something, the family is trying desperately hard to get that video that she did on Instagram, a series of videos, whatever you want to call it. They're trying to get that content pulled from any and everywhere. Fuck you to the people that pulled that video. First of all, you aren't even the content creator of that content. She was. You are ripping off content. There is no fair rights. There's none of that. I'm sure you guys have major rounds on YouTube. I'm sure you guys have seen it by now. It's pretty sickening to know that somebody is just off Instagram pulling videos. And we know sometimes how complex it can be to pull videos, record videos and all that, download videos from certain social media platforms and all that. But there is a way to do it. It's a tedious process, but there is a way to do it. Some of them involve paywalls and other stuff, right? But to just do that and then decide, I don't even want to hear about the mofos that are out there saying, oh, I'm only doing this because I want to put the spotlight on how important mental awareness is. I just want to share this video because I want to stress the importance of mental health. And if you need, no, you're trying to justify getting that retention time. You're trying to justify getting those clicks. You're trying to justify getting those interactions and all of that other shit. No. If you're like me and you're very disgusted with what you've been seeing these past 24 hours with the goofballs that are sharing her final moments on this earth, possibly, do like me. If you're seeing stuff on YouTube, and I'll post a link in the chat unless somebody beats me to the punch. Shout out to those of you that do have the link handy. You're more than willing to post it in the chat. But YouTube has a feature where anybody that has a YouTube account, it doesn't matter how many subscribers you have, any of that jazz. If you have a YouTube account linked to your Google and all that, all you got to do once you sign in, there's an option where you can get in contact with YouTube live chat support. And depending on your respective country, you can interact with them possibly 24/7. As here in the U.S., you can interact with them on a 24/7 basis. Other countries, the hours are a little bit limited. But on top of reporting the videos, mentioning, I think the category that you want is basically something about self-harm or, harmful, something along those lines. You'll know exactly the option I'm talking about when you see it. But as soon as you flag the video, if you want, you can automatically follow up, talk to YouTube live chat, and you can let them know what's going on and everything. And hopefully some of these content creators that know they are wrong. There's one cat that's running around. He's got 2 backup accounts. Just in case the first one gets pulled, he's got another backup account showing the same video. These people, they're not helping. They aren't being helpful whatsoever. So please, I implore you, don't give those people the time nor the day. Okay? But to know that she was in that type of a state of mind where she desperately was crying for help, and then, at the same time saying goodbye. Anytime we get to the part where she's saying, please make sure my brain is donated to research, shit don't got real. Shit don't got real. Okay? Honestly, it was weird doing the podcast last night because you guys that were with us last night, I ended the show saying to you guys, well, no news is maybe good news, right? Right? I'm sure I said that trying to convince you guys, but most definitely trying to convince myself. And I knew deep down, nah. But I tried to hold on to this little small thing called optimism. I tried to hold on to this little small thing called hope. And, you know, what I had honestly hoped was maybe it would just be a case where she would just disconnect from social media, roll over, go to sleep, wake up several hours later, bombarded with the texts and all of that, and foolish me was thinking she was going to get on social media and say, guys, I'm so sorry I scared you all like that. My head wasn't in the right place, but yeah, I'm still here. I'm getting the help that I need right now. I'm going to be checking into a facility. You know, sorry I scared any of you guys, especially the fans. I was prepared for some type of post like that. I went to bed. This is how rattled I was. Normally, I'm a late night owl anyway. But I had work today. And normally, for me, I like to call it a day around, 1, 2 in the morning. Because of what was going on with Daffney, I must have been up until about maybe 5 a.m. just trying to give myself some type of peace of mind, trying to find anything news-wise. And I went to bed. I had to actually take a couple of melatonins to really calm my nerves down. And to go to bed not knowing, I don't know how it was for you guys, for you fans of Daphne's, but definitely unsettling. And then to wake up for the day, all right, time to go to work. But I'm not exactly in my usual, because when I'm going to work, I'm very happy. I'm very happy. Not today. Today I'm going, what is going on? What is up with Daffney? And to find out pretty much like everybody else at the same time to hear the announcement, soul is crushed. Soul is just crushed. We were here last night and I remember saying to you guys, man, if anybody might potentially know current address of Daffney or is a good lead to try to get the help that she needs, get police, emergency and all that to her. Maybe it's her husband, Rich Ward. I said to you guys, she's still married to him, right? And sadly, it was kind of one of those deals. I'll be totally candid with you guys, and I do see you guys comment, and trust me, I'll definitely read what you guys are saying throughout, of course, as it's trickling in and everything. I got like maybe a 20-second delay seeing your post, but I will read your posts, and we're all in this together right now. But on the Wednesday show, it was so sad because I'm just gonna shoot from the hip, man. I don't give a fuck tonight. I don't care who I alienate. I don't care who I piss off. I'm just shooting from the hip right here, okay? Keeping it honest, insightful, interactive since 2011. That's how I've always done this show. What was the most infuriating part, one of the infuriating parts about last night's show, was when I brought up, oh yeah, she's still married to the guy in Fozzy, right? Rich Ward. Nobody. I had like about maybe 10 people watching live. Nobody said a fucking thing. Only thing motherfuckers wanted to talk about was NXT and some other shit. That's it. I said, guys, there's a time and a place to be, talking about stuff like when real life happens, when real shit happens, everything else got to take a backseat. I even had said, hey, for anybody that has some type of news that they want to share, an update, you can post it in the chat. I'll definitely give you credit. Just make sure that the source you're pulling it from is very reputable and all that. Nobody did jack shit. And it was kind of like, okay, okay. I'm on Twitter. I put a post out there a couple of times. Oh, if you are dealing with mental health issues, hey, just know that there is help for you. You know, just reach out. I've said this time and time again over the years. Nothing's changed. Nothing different whatsoever. Nothing different whatsoever. Anytime a major celebrity has passed, or it's just that time, or it's just that time of the year, and to the person in the chat that had posted her address, please don't do that. Please don't do that. You know, don't do that. I've already removed it, and what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to actually blank the chat for a little bit and try to do a reset on that. Don't do that. No personal information on Daffney. Please, let's be respectful. Let's be respectful. I'm only going to say that once. But to go on social media, hey, if you're suffering, you need help, 2 fucking likes, 1 fuck. I wasn't doing it to get a pat on the back or anything. It was just legit. You look, if you need help. But, you know, let a celebrity say the same thing I had posted. And you had mofos that were essentially looking for that social media hand job. You know, oh, they liked, they tweeted, and it's like, okay. It is what it is. I see how we're doing it. It's all good. You know. But that was so heartbreaking to be reacting to what was happening in real time Wednesday, and motherfuckers were just being silent. Even more insulting, the motherfuckers that didn't give a damn about Daffney that instead wanted to talk about wrestling. This is the territory that I've been dealing with now since 2011. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. There's a lot of conflicting reports that's floating around right now. I'm sure you guys have seen the same news that's floating around as I've seen. You know, on the one hand, and shout out to April Hunter. April Hunter is somebody I've followed for many years now. You know, probably almost going into the wee hours of the night. She had revealed some information where, you know, one of her friends / associates, you know, that was down there in Georgia kind of connected to the situation. Basically, what was relayed to April Hunter was that there was an issue about getting inside the place where Daffney was staying. You know, on the one hand, you're hearing this report about management was being difficult. They were not trying to give police, EMTs, the respected access that they needed to. And I know, as crazy as that sounds to you guys that may hear that, here's where I want to bring a little bit of, yeah, I'm very familiar with that playbook. Okay, I'm very familiar with that playbook. Look, if it was a management issue, which I don't believe, but if somebody's doing a welfare check on somebody and they get in contact with the property management, let them know, hey, we got to do this welfare check because XYZ, this is what had went down. The hell with the fact that property is going to most definitely be damaged. The hell with that. That can easily be repaired, and you could essentially kind of write that off under certain circumstances and all that. My father-in-law used to be not only a maintenance man, but he also used to rent out apartments for many decades. So, you know, he knows what he's talking about. So I definitely trust the intel that I'm getting from him, because I kind of told him about some of the stuff that was going on here, and he was like, no, because if the property management were to in any type of way interfere with medical personnel, with emergency, trying to get into a place to give somebody proper care, I mean, they're leaving the property management, they're leaving themselves exposed to a big lawsuit, to a big lawsuit. So I'm not really buying too much into that report, but that's one report that we have that's floating around. Now, let me share with you guys a little bit of a side story. And I definitely don't think this latter part I'm getting ready to mention to you guys, I don't think this happened, but you can't rule it out either, right? Again, just hear me out. I remember many years ago when I was in my I was probably 22 or 23 years old. So we're definitely talking over 20 years ago. I remember I was staying with my mom for just over the summer while I was trying to figure out, okay, what's next as far as education goes and all that, because I'm either going to do continuing on with my education, or I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to try to go into the military. So I was staying with her for the summer. One day I get off from work and I'm coming home and everything. Next thing I know, I cannot get inside. She's got the deadbolt on and everything. And sadly, the key I have is just for the bottom lock. Right? So in regards to the deadbolt, it's either two things. One, maybe she ran some errands. Maybe she'll be back in a little bit. Two, she's in there, she's sleeping or whatever. Now, this is early in the morning. Know my mom like the back of my hand. Ain't no way she's doing anything this early in the morning. Nah, she usually don't do her stuff until early afternoon. So I must have been knocking on the door for about 20 minutes. Nothing. I kept calling the house phone. Nothing. I ended up walking across the street to the gas station and I freaking made a call. Back then when we still had public payphones, by the way. I went to the public payphone. I called 911. I told them what was going on. And, emergency, they came on out and everything. Paramedics, they came out. I told them what was going on. I told them how I was very, very concerned because, hey, this is not like her. For all I know, maybe she's in there and she's unresponsive. Maybe she kind of slipped, had some type of an accident. And I literally was telling them, we need to do some type of a welfare check. I live here. You guys got my permission to break this door down. They would not break the door down. And I'm like, but you guys don't understand. I've been banging on this door for, and I had probably continued to bang on the door. I would say grand total, I did like 20 minutes here, and then I would just stop, wait about maybe 15, 20 minutes, bang again. When you add it all up, I probably was knocking on that door for about an hour. No bullshit, guys. About an hour. And I told him this. I'm like, I've been banging on that door for an hour. I'm like, I'm telling you, we have this communication, if she's going to be doing something, she knows how to call, text, da, 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 da. They refused. Now, you take that how you want to take that. But I just thought that was the weirdest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. Now, happy ending to the story. After they left, I'm cursing them out under my breath. I go back. I'm knocking on the door again. I'm probably banging on the door for another 15, 20 minutes. My mom finally opens the door, and I'm like, are you okay? She's like, yeah, whoa, what's going on? I'm like, you didn't hear me banging on the doors? I've been knocking on the door for the past hour plus. I even had called 911 to try to have them do a welfare check and break the door down. She's like, well, I'm glad that didn't happen because, I was here. It's I had the music in my bedroom on and, I was sleeping. I'm like, oh. And I just gave her a big old hug. I'm like, I'm just glad you're okay, right? Kind of one of those type of deals. some type of discrepancy was going on out there with Daffney as far as them, doing what they needed to do right away. April Hunter did say something along the lines of, they did try to break down the door. So it went from, okay, we got this difficulty that's going on, to, okay, they tried to get in there, but the door's not as easy to take down. And it really depends how that door is set up. The easiest way that you can pretty much take a door down is if you have access to the hinges. That's the most easiest way that you can get any door down. It doesn't matter how freaking bulletproof, how thick, it doesn't matter. If you got access to those hinges, oh, game over. But when it's a case where the hinges is on the opposite side, and again, you got to factor in, what type of door it is and all that. Yeah, it's either going to take a good fucking minute. So have a Snickers, or you ain't getting in there. Not physically, you ain't getting in there. You are probably most likely going to need the landlord, and that's assuming that there are a spare set of keys to that unit with the property management, because you know how it is sometimes when it comes to those apartment complexes, even condominiums and all that. Sometimes people will do their thing. They'll come in and they'll go, nah, I'm gonna change the locks because I don't like the idea of, while I'm at work, the freaking janitor and other people, whoever, they're helping themselves into my apartment. Too many horror stories, man, and I'm sure everybody has their own, you guys included, I'm sure everybody has their own little horror story where, yeah, I was at home one day, off from work, off from school. Next thing I know, maintenance man helps himself on in the house and makes a fucking sandwich, plays my PS4, right? Crazy shit there, right? So, to find her, eventually, on the one hand, you're looking at it, you're trying to be positive and you're trying to say, well, at least they found her. But then you look at the negative and you go, yeah, but sadly we weren't able to get to her in time. And you just shake your head and you just go, Lord only knows what was going on with Daffney over the years. So much speculation that people can do. One could speculate, man, did the marriage maybe kind of play an integral part in this spiraling mental, whatever you want to call it? Only she knows that, and only those closest to her know that. Those that she confided in could maybe shed a little bit of light on that. I can tell you this, though, from personal experience, and I'm being very transparent here. Breaking up, especially when you feel that you found that life partner, you've dedicated your heart, your soul, your energy into, and, you don't stop loving and caring for that person, but that person stops loving and caring for you. Oh, man, it can be very, very detrimental. Very detrimental. I remember my first marriage. I got married when I was extremely young. I got married when I was 23 going on 24 is when I got married. And I was married for about 5 years. 5 years. And I loved that woman to death. Loved her to death. Worshipped her. I loved her to death. But was a piece of shit to her. I know that's kind of hard to hear, right? It's like, wait a minute, you say you loved her, but you were a piece of... It's like when it came to me doing everything I was supposed to do to be a responsible partner, wasn't doing it. And even though I had a good woman, I felt that I still needed to be out there playing the field. So I was definitely a piece of shit back then. Definitely. And sometimes a motherfucker has to hit rock bottom in order to, oh wow, self, I can't believe I'm operating like this. And I started cleaning my act up, did a whole 180. And my hope was that, okay, by making all these necessary changes, maybe I can win her back. And there was a period there, where we did try again, but it didn't last that long, and the way I had to find out that, no, it's over. So heartbreaking, yeah, so heartbreaking. I was in tears. I was in tears. I lost a lot of weight. I probably had lost about 30 pounds. You heard me right, 30 pounds in about 2 weeks. And, when she had finally saw me, because the way that second go round, the way that I had to find out the marriage was over, I was at work. And I had sent her a text message and I had said to her, hey, I'm thinking about stopping by the 7-Eleven and, grabbing their pizza. You want anything? And she texts back, no. And I'm going, oh, okay, well, what would you like to eat? And I get, I'm actually not going to be there tonight. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, no problem. I say, well, you know, you going to come up tomorrow? She goes, I left a note for you. Read it when you get home from work. I'm like, the fuck? I kept calling and calling, and finally she picked up, and, she's crying and everything. And that's when I found out that, hey, yeah, you made some good strides. You made your changes for the better and all that, but it's sadly too late. And and I was in a spiral. I was in a deep state of depression. Definitely had the anxiety going. I'll be totally candid with you guys. I seriously had thought about taking my own life. I know when some people hear that, it's like, wow, over a woman, and it's like, love affects everybody very, very differently, y'all. But no, that actually was my headspace. That's where I was at and everything. My friends weren't really helping. As far as advice, it's one thing if, if you need a place to stay, hey, we got your back. But I mean, to have that friend that could, truly and be unbiased and really listen, not pass any judgment, not take something that I say and throw it right back into my face, whether it be right there on that spot or a couple of months down the road. I hate to say it, but I felt at that time with the type of inner circle, and this kind of goes back to that a comment that Daniel had said a little while ago, which was, this was something else. New Jack, Paul Orndorff, and now Daffney, rest in paradise, good woman. Your people around you should have taken more initiative. Now, I do want to come back to that, because that's the thing. That's the thing. It's a two-way street, Daniel. You can't put it all on Daphne's inner circle. You can't. Because take it from somebody that knows what it's like to deal with mental illness, that knows what it's like to be in a position where you feel as though you cannot confide in your friends. Remember what I just told you guys, all the shit that had went down there with my first marriage. Yeah, again, if I needed a couple of bucks, I needed a place to crash, I knew my friends were good for that. But I truly did not feel that I had anybody of my inner circle that I could really confide in and just really, truly be myself. Truly let them know This is where my head is at right now. The one time that I did try to let my guard down and let one of my friends know what was going on with me, you guys will think this is crazy. I'll never forget this. I'll never forget this. And its responses like this, why, yeah, you know what? I don't want to have anything to do with you. Because you're not being, let me put it out there. The one time that I did confide in my friends and I was telling them what was going on and just, everything that had went down. You know what one of my friends then said to me at the time? Tried to tell you, Lee, you need to leave those white women alone. Here I am pouring my heart out to this guy, trying to tell him where my headspace is and all of this other shit. And we're making it be not about me. We're making it be a race thing. It's like, what the fuck? And no, to ear in the chat, no, I did not beat her. No. Take it from somebody that grew up as a child watching their own parent be physically abused. When you see stuff like that, that has a profound impact on you. Now, unfortunately, for some young boys that witness stuff like that, they pick up those bad habits, and when they go into their relationships, I'm proud to say I never did that. We might have got into our arguments. My one vice, I couldn't keep my dick in my pants. Had the woman, everything. I could not just, okay, I'm with this one woman. I had to keep sleeping around. That's just how it was. Some people have to hit, and again, we're talking about something from over 20 years ago. I'm 40 going on 41 now. Completely different person that I am today compared to way back then. Completely different. You have to want to change. That's where it all starts. It doesn't matter how old you are. The minute that you just decide, I got to be done with these old ways because this shit ain't getting me nowhere except a world of hurt. The minute that you finally have that self-revelation, like, sadly, you could be told till you're blue in the face. But unless you have that self-revelation, you're just going to keep going down that same fucking rabbit hole. Unfortunately. No, and not for nothing, but we actually ended up being better friends than we were as a married couple. Right down to the point, we used to hang out all the time. We used to talk to each other about some of the dates that we went on. When I started dating Tams, my now wife, I remember all three of us, we used to do three-way calls, all that shit. And I'm sorry, I'm almost getting emotional because she too had mental issues. She too had her anxiety and all that. And, there were times where she would scare me, honestly. There were times where she would scare me because she would talk about popping a bunch of Xanax. And, you know what I'm saying? But what I'd give to hear the voice of her right now, just picking her brain on some of the stuff that's been going on in this crazy world, because she died long before. Beautiful soul. Would give you the shirt off her back. She was that helpful. But she passed away, some years ago. It was kind of sad. It was kind of sad. But, relationships, it has a way, to the point I'm making from earlier, relationships, it affects people differently. I kind of talked about this a little bit on the show from Wednesday night. It affects us all differently. And when you factor in a pandemic, everything went up statistic wise. Everything went up. People that were being physically abused, that went up. People that, are dealing with alcohol issues, that went up. Kids that might have been abused by their parents or whoever, that went up. A whole lot of shit percentage-wise went up when we got this pandemic. And you just talk about it being such a crippling blow. You're used to having X amount of money come in on a regular basis, and then when that streamline is pretty much taken away from you because of the pandemic, yeah, you're trying to do your best to get your unemployment or whatever. God, let's not even go there. Remember how much of a shitstorm that was? I don't know about you guys, I legit knew of people that tried to get their unemployment and they waited months. How they were able to do what they needed to do, I have grace of God, y'all. Grace of God. But this pandemic, it at its critical stages, it really tested people. It really, really did. You just don't know what's going on with somebody. You just don't. And to go back to Daniel's point earlier, you can't put all the blame on her inner circle because it's a two-way street. You could be that good friend and you can tell your friend, hey man, anything you need, anytime you want to talk, anything that you want to get off your chest, hey man, I'm here for you. And that friend could just be like, oh, well, that's sweet. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And then they're thinking to themselves, yeah, whatever. There has to be this, there has to, speaking as somebody that's dealt with mental issues and continues here and there, I've had better days these days than worse days, than bad days. But speaking as somebody that has dealt with mental illness over the years, I can tell you that the way to get to me, I got to totally trust you. Two, I got to really know that whatever I say to you, you're not going to throw it in my face. You're not going to pass judgment. You are truly going to listen and you're going to give me the best sound advice that I can possibly, right? You're only as good as the people that you have around you for a support system, but it's got to be a two-way street. So for all we know, these people could have been to Daffney and she could have just been on the one hand, right? You don't know. We all don't know. These are, I'm sure that many of her friends are probably rocked by this. I'm sure that some, wow, I didn't even know. Others, I kind of had a little bit of an idea on some stuff that was going on, but I didn't know it was this bad. I saw the point brought up about gained weight during the pandemic. Yeah, a lot of us continue to have that problem, pandemic or not, but definitely during the pandemic, weight increase. Yeah. You're not able to go to work. What else are you going to do? Right? Oh, well, I'm going to eat and then I'm going to go to the gym. Well, remember the gyms were shut down there for a little bit. You know what was the most saddest thing and the most toxic thing I saw on social media these past 24 hours with regards to Daphne's passing and all that? True story, and I'm not making this shit up. To see people that were actually taking this as an opportunity to make jokes off of Daffney. I'm not going to even repeat some of the shit. Just do a search. You'll see what I'm talking about. motherfuckers that were making fun of her weight, some having the audacity to say, well, if I was as big as she is or was, I'd kill myself too. And some people saying the most nastiest sexual things, saying, I'm not going to repeat it, but the jokes that were being put out there. Are we sure that's Daphne? That don't look like anything. Like, who the fuck is that? Man, she got huge. And I'm using nicer words. They said more. Yeah, okay, it was a lot worse than that. I'm dressing it up for you guys. And I just couldn't help but just look at some of these profiles of these motherfuckers that were saying what they were saying about Daphne. It's like, oh, okay, motherfucker. You must be GQ looking. You must have won a couple of awards or whatever. Let's see how you look since you talking a good hot ass game. Look up the profile. I'll take cartoon avatar and profile for 500, Lee. Ooh, you got yourself a daily double. I will take nothing but gifts on their profile, Lee. Every single post of theirs, gift. Yes. I will take, it looks like they're hiding behind some type of cartoon images and they're posting nothing but a bunch of cartoon shit and they're just trolling. Keep trolling. Yeah. That's all I saw when I was looking up these profiles. So it was kind of like, yeah, I'm not paying you no mind. Fuck you. You actually had a small amount that actually showed their face in their profiles and all that, taking the digs that they were taking. It goes back to what I've been talking about off and on for the past couple of years, which is the social toxicity that has existed and continues to exist with social media. First of all, you got the FOMO, the fear of missing out. Motherfuckers want to make sure that they are part of that moment. Even social media, the Facebooks, the Twitters, the Instagrams, even they are part of this whole ordeal as well. You're trying to look up information about somebody that may have potentially taken their own life, that may have potentially committed suicide. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they're helping you out by having you look at recent posts, reputable people with the blue check marks and all of that good stuff. But there's some ads that you got to go through. There's some ads you got to go through if you want to read certain stuff. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Why am I getting this ad? I don't care about this ad. Block. You think you're not going to see it again. You see more stuff. Anybody today or the past 24 hours that was trying to look up stuff on Daphne, sadly, you came across ads. So these social media platforms, they're part of it as well. They're part of the FOMO, the fear of missing out as well. What they don't want to tell you, this is how they got to make their money. But man, where do you draw the line here? Surely there's a moral compass where you go, okay, we're talking about deaths, suicides, hands off. No reason to be doing the whole monetization shit, plugging this little thing right here. Let's just, right? But they're part of it too. It's that fear of missing out. They want to be part of that particular trending moment, that talkable moment that's going on in pulp culture. I saw motherfuckers that were even using the Daphne hashtag just to put over their music. Disgusting, right? Very disgusting. Just as disgusting as the people that were saying what they were saying about Daphne, which again, doesn't need to be repeated. You guys are an older group. You guys are smart. You know better. You know the game. You know how it's played. You know, we can't have it both ways, people. Not you guys specifically. I would like to believe you guys that's tuning in right now, you guys are smarter than that. You're better human beings than that. But we got individuals out there. We got to be better. We got to be better. Oh, man. Yeah, it's very unfortunate there. What happened? Yeah, very. Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, so sad. So sad. Yeah, we got to be better than that. We can't do that. How we going to make fun of this person over here? And yeah, nah. Everybody was making fun of China. Everybody was making fun of how China looks, how she sounds, all this other shit. Oh, is she even really a woman? Oh, she's packing a dick. That. Oh, China did porn? Ha ha ha. Everybody laughing their ass off about that. I probably was one of very few podcasters. You can even go on the website and look at the piece I had wrote from years back before she even died. It was essentially just my overall 2 cents about what was going on with her life as she was just spiraling out of control. And as you read that piece, literally, I was just screaming, China, fucking turn your life. You got enough time to save it before it's too late. And we saw how that end result was. Anybody that had watched that China documentary on Vice, eerie similarities there as far as the bookend finish when you compare that to what was going on there with Daphne. The desperate cry for help. Let me tell you something, man. When a person feels as though they have their back up against the wall and there is just no other way, when they feel that, oh, okay, I've done this for as long as I've possibly can do this. I can't take it. I can't stand the pain. I'm done. When they're that strong-willed, when they're that strong-minded, over and done. Over and done. It's sad. It's very sad. But it's a reminder that you could have all the fame in the world. You could have all the money in the world. Look at Anthony Bourdain. Here's a guy that was going around the country being paid to taste all different kinds of exotic food. Best fucking job you can think of in the entire world. Meeting cool people, hanging out with celebrities, eating all kinds of yummy food, exotic dishes. Fucking kills himself. Fucking kills himself. Now, Robin Williams, that's a different story. You guys probably can't see it in the background, but I got Robin Williams hanging up in my studio here. Robin Williams, that was a completely different story. When you look up Robin Williams' conditions, this guy decided, you know what? All these decades that I've been entertaining people, and to have this disease slowly killing me and get me to a point where Robin sadly, selfishly decided, no, before it gets to the point where, no, I'm just gonna, on the one hand, you look at that and you go, okay, I understand, but it doesn't make it right. I understand, but dude, your family, what the fuck? Like, come on, man. Williams is a completely different beast, unfortunately. That's a completely different beast. And not for nothing, but if we were diagnosed with that shit, We truly don't know. And that's the thing. A motherfucker can talk a really good game, but when it actually happens to you, that's when it's like, everybody can think, oh, I would handle it differently. I would do this. I would do that. Oh, man. Yeah, that wouldn't be me because I would do, okay. But then when you have your moment, all right, here's your spotlight. All of a sudden, all that good talking that was done previously, it's out the window. And now it's just, that's how it is. That's how it is, sadly. I shared the story with about Daffney last night. I want to share it again for those of you that are tuning in, and it might be your first time tuning in. Like I said, as a wrestling fan, grew up on her shit. I remember her stuff from WCW. I remember her stuff. And it's so funny, too, because, we're here talking about her tonight and everything because, she got her initial training when she decided she wanted to go into pro wrestling. She got her training initially by the WCW power plant. But you look at the other women that had a hand in training her as well. Selena Majors, Malaya Hasaka. They had a hand in training her. And you look at everything that was going on with her in WCW. I mean, this was an educated woman, y'all. This was a smart woman. Whatever she had set her mind out to do and try to go accomplish, she was accomplishing those things. And when I say this was an educated woman, this woman coming from a military background. So her father, in the military, they were traveling all over the place, right? So at an early age, think about that. Goes kind of hand in hand, too, when you really take a step back and you think about it. Okay, so here you are, part of a military family. You're living in various places, and then ultimately you go be a pro wrestler, and you're going to different cities every single week. So this is kind of like, it fits perfectly when you stop and you think about it. But, here's a woman that had got her bachelor's in audio, video, film editing. And at one point was working in media production before she decided to try her hand in acting. She also had some minors in dancing and acting. And so here she was, okay, she's doing stuff behind the scenes. Now she's like, okay, let me try to see if I can do some stuff in front of the camera. And one thing leads into another, and then here she is. She goes to freaking WCW and all that, and you're like, okay, all right, nice. And it was at WCW where really the Daffney character was born, and that was just amazing. That was just amazing. I have no idea. I'm being asked something about tickets. I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. I think you got me confused with somebody else. I have no idea what you're talking about. But her gimmick was inspired in part by the movie Natural Born Killers. Think about the main character there in Mallory Knox. Yeah, now that's kind of clicking in your head. If you never, now when you kind of stop and you think about it, you're kind of going, okay, yeah. She had teamed up with, I'm trying to think who it was, Crowbar, I believe it was, when she teamed up with Crowbar, and they had took on Chris Candido, Tammy Sitch, Sonny, tag match. And then when she became the second woman in WCW history, the second woman, mind you, to become the WCW Cruiserweight Champion. You're just going, wait, what? Like, what? These were some really cool moments that had went down. And then WCW had the first ever wedding gown match where Daffney took on Hancock. I mean, if you're a Daffney fan, there was some really cool moments that had went down in there, man. You look at all the promotions that she had worked for too. I mean, take your pick. You want to go with TNA, you want to go with XPW, you want to go with ROH, you want to go with OVW. Man, I gotta take a pause right now. Um, I don't know if you're trying to. I don't know if you're trying to put yourself over. I don't know if you're trying to put yourself over, but to the person in the chat talking about tickets to MLW that you and me were supposed to go to, that's news to me because you've never reached out to me anywhere on social media saying anything about. So can we please not, because I check my emails daily, even my junk mail. Let's not do that. Please don't let it be about you and getting yourself over. Um, we're trying to give Daffney her flowers right now. So we want to have it just be on one topic in Daffney. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not interested in doing any meetups right now. I'm not. Don't know what email? You don't even know what email. I don't even advertise an email. So how you going to email me? Let's not let it be about me right now. We need to give our flowers to Daffney. So I'm saying this right now respectfully. If you can't talk all things Daffney, this ain't the show tonight. You can come on back on the Monday show. You can come on back on the Wednesday show. And when we be going all over the place, you want to ask me something like that or whatever, those are the shows. Tonight, it's all about Daffney. Now, granted, you may have heard me a couple of times reference some personal stuff. That's only because I'm trying to help you guys from my personal experience draw it up. I'm not trying to say it's the same thing as, but I'm only helping bridge the gap so that people can understand better some of the stuff that's going on, right? So let's continue to give our girl her flowers, man. But we were talking about what? TNA, ROH, XPW, OVW, true story. And I'm actually looking forward to hearing what's going on with Aaron Stevens, because Aaron Stevens actually used to be trained very briefly, managed, I think, as well. No. Managed it was, not trained. It was managed because he was getting his training in OVW, Aaron Stevens, Damian Sandow. He actually, at one point, was being managed in OVW by Daffney. So, that was kind of, so the reason why I brought up Aaron Stevens is because I'm curious, because I know him and April Hunter, they do a podcast together. So I'm definitely going to be peeping that out to hear, what they're going to be saying and all that. You look at when she was in Shimmer, when she started working for the Shimmer promotion. I also remember when she was working for the Shine promotion as well. Shimmer, I remember when she was managing Mischief. And that was pretty good. She had the feud that was going on there with Summer Lynn. I thought that feud was actually pretty good. And the fact that it bounced from Shimmer and then it went to ACW, what was that, like Apocalypse Championship Wrestling or something like that? Armageddon Championship Wrestling, whatever the name of that promotion was. And her and Summer Lynn, they continued their feud on over there. And she ultimately had won, Daffney that is, she ultimately had won the ACW women's championship. That was like the only, believe it or not, that was like the only women's championship that she won in her whole career. That was the only championship that she won. I actually liked the little bit of stuff that I saw her doing in Shine. She was more so like, I would describe really like a valet kind of slash hostess. I would really say is what she was doing. I want to share a fun Daffney story, and it's something that I've never ever forgotten. And folks that had listened to the show last night, Wednesday night, know this story already, but it really meant a lot to me. So I began podcasting in 2011, and I want to say probably around 2013, 2014 is when I really had started covering Shine and Shimmer. And I was just in love with these promotions because I've always been a big advocate for women's wrestling. And I remember when I just got to that point where I said, man, I want to see if we can try to interview some girls from these promotions. Shine had a pay-per-view coming up, and I had reached out to Shine, and I introduced myself and everything. And they were so nice with their correspondence with me, and they were like, yeah, sure, yeah, great, great. This is who we got. And one of the names that had jumped out to me off the break, Daffney. And I had said, okay, you know what? Yeah, I want to interview with Daffney. And so they had put me in touch with Daffney, and we started corresponding. And she was so nice to me. She was a sweetheart. Asked me how I was doing, all of that. Nice, good back and forth. And it came time to try to set up an interview and everything. And I remember, yeah, we didn't forget about MLW. We're not doing an exact timeline. And then in this day in we're not doing an exact time frame here. We're just shooting from the hip. None of this shit. This show isn't even scripted. This is just off memory. Off memory. Unlike some people that got to look up a whole bunch of shit, they got to read something from a tablet or from a notepad. This is all straight from the heart, y'all. I hope you all kind of realize that for the hour plus we've been doing this now. Anyway, so back to my story. So again, this was during the time when I was digging Shimmer, I was digging Shine. One of the first promotions, women's promotions, that I had began covering was Shine. And you can see it on the YouTube channel and on the joints on the downloads. There's like a whole bunch of Shine pay-per-views I had covered. So me and Daffney, we're kind of working out a date where we could try to have her on the show. We had the date locked in. Next thing I know, and the way I like to usually do this when I do interviews with folks, I usually tell them straight up, okay, especially because some will say to me, okay, can we do it this week? And I always tell them, no matter who it is, no matter who the guest is, I always tell them, we want to build it up. I need enough time to at least put some graphics out there, generate some questions, get some buzz. I need at least a week's worth of promotion to build up. Then we can go right into the interview the week after. And most guests, when they hear that, I've never had anybody that, no can do, right? Everybody's, oh, okay, yeah, well, that makes sense. Yeah, duh. And they're totally cool with it. So me and Daffney, we hammered out a date. It was a little bit of cat and mouse because it was like one minute it was like tag. And then a couple of days later, it's like, oh, yeah, that wouldn't work. How about, it's like, and then a couple of days later, I'm like, how about, and we just kept ping-ponging like that. Finally, we hammered out a date. I started working on the graphics and everything. And next thing I know, probably like a couple of days before the show, Daffney emails me and she's like, I'm so sorry. He's like, some stuff has come up. Unfortunately, cannot do the interview. She was pretty bummed out about it. And she told me, she said, look, not for nothing, but I can definitely put you in touch with some other girls that'd be more than happy to do the interview with you. Let me know if you're down. So I hit her up. I'm like, yeah. And I told her straight up, I was like, I really wanted to talk to you because I've been checking out your work off and on for some years. But, I understand. Like, well, who else you got? And she threw a couple of girls' names at me and everything. And I said, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Well, how about these?" And she was like, "You want to do all of them, or which one do you want to interview?" And I'm like, "Why not all of them? Because the event that Shine was having, it wasn't coming up for a couple of weeks. So I figured, okay, if we can kind of do one a week leading up to their pay-per-view, great." I'll never forget that. I'm going on and on about that. I'll never forget that because here was this woman that honestly could have said, "Look, I've never heard of this podcast. I don't even know who this guy is. I don't even know if it's going to be a good interview. I don't even know what type of traction it's going to get. Why am I even," right? Most guests, it's okay, I've done the interview, I'm done. Or most guests that back out of an interview, they don't try to make things right with the show host and, okay, well, how about this? Well, let's do this instead. Most guests, they don't do in everything. They just keep it rolling. And the fact that she went above and beyond, that's something I'll never, ever, I've never forgotten that. It was the greatest act of kindness that somebody's ever done towards me early on in my podcasting career. Never forgot it. You'll hear many stories as you check out other people's tributes of cool moments, that will definitely eclipse what I just told you. But the one thing that all of those positive stories will have in common: how sweet, how kind, how generous Daffney was. Others that had the opportunity to actually work with her at shows. I know my good friend DT, he worked with her a couple of times, XPW and a couple of other events and all that. I can't actually wait to see his tribute because I know he's going to be sharing some personal letters, things of that nature and all that. But hopefully by now, most people realize that this was a beautiful soul that had touched so many lives in the most positive way humanly possible. Always smiles, always laughs, always giggles, always a good time. And that's been the main theme I hope that you guys have been seeing so far. And I definitely think we should focus a lot on those good moments in regards to Daffney. Some of my other favorite moments from her career, TNA, the whole governor thing, and the Taylor Wilde Roxy feud with the beautiful people. Oh, oh. And if you want some fun trivia, here's some fun trivia. She actually, when she was done with wrestling, or so she thought, the first rodeo, she gave her boots to Mickey James. Remember that. Remember that. Of course, in TNA, Dr. Stevie and Abyss. Fucking Stevie Richards. I mean, this guy has found the fucking fountain of youth. Looks fantastic. You thought the rights to censor Stevie Richards was something, nothing compared to when you saw Dr. Stevie and what he was able to do there in TNA. Especially when he was able to get fucking Daffney and Abyss. That was actually one of my favorite periods in TNA. Everything culminating in Daffney and Abyss teaming up to take on it was an intergender tag match, a Monsters Ball match at Slammiversary. Daffney teamed up with Abyss and they had took on was it Raven? No, it was Raven and an Abyss, wasn't it? No, Daffney and Raven. It was Daffney and Raven taking on Abyss and Taylor Wilde. Coming back to me now. Yeah. Look that up if you want a really cool match to check out. That shit was fucking badass. That shit was badass. The feud with Tara, Victoria, that was pretty good as well. And then you had the stuff that was going on there with her lawsuit with TNA, Impact Wrestling. You know, you just can't help but wonder how much of impact, no pun intended, how much significance the injury she suffered while working for Impact played a role into her later years. You know, and I say that because not for nothing, but after she was injured, you know, we never really saw her again in the ring doing what she did best. You know, we never did really see her throw down like that again. But there was some Impact Wrestling tapings that she did. I can't remember the name of the girl right now. Something Betsy. Something Betsy. I can't think of but something Betsy. It was like a tryout match. And she got injured, she being Daffney, and what all had happened with her. Oh, heartbreaking. She had a bruised sternum, severe stinger, concussion. It's a whole lot of shit that was going on there. And the final matches that she had in TNA, Sarita, she teamed up with Sarita. They were taking on the Beautiful People. That was like 2011. And then shortly after that, pretty much she went into suing Impact Wrestling. You know, she mainly had sued them for providing unsafe working conditions. And, you know, I think at that point we might have been on the air because depending on when she had filed the lawsuit against Impact Wrestling, like if she did it in the spring or the summer of 2011, we weren't on the air yet because we didn't make our premiere until November of 2011. But I know off and on those next couple of years when the news would come about Daffney Impact, I remember on those earlier shows we did talk about it, and she ultimately settled with Impact. I do remember that. She ultimately settled with TNA. I don't know the figures and all of that shit. Really none of my fucking business. I just know they did ultimately settle it and everything. Russellicious. She did some stuff there with Russellicious. And we already told you about Shine. She did Shine from like 2012 until about 2015 is when she did it. Ring of Honor was one of the last stints she did for, you know, somewhat of a major wrestling promotion and everything. She had made an appearance on ROH for the Women of Honor Championship Tournament, their 2018 edition. And yeah, that was pretty much it. I remember there was something going on there with Kelly Klein and Saka. There was something involved going on with that, but that pretty much was it. But she was always pretty current on her shit. I know there was that podcast, Grown Ass Women. I know she frequented that podcast a lot. Also, the Wrestle Code video game. I mean, that game has just been at it for fucking years now. It's just gotten to a point with me when it comes to that game, Wrestling Code. I've just said to myself, look, it'll come out when it comes out. Because every time you turn around, you're going any day now, and like they just keep adding more and more shit to it. So it's kind of one of those. I see your stuff. I see you doing your thing, but just give me the release date. Y'all been teasing this for some years now. Like it's gonna be 5 years later, and we're still gonna be waiting on this game. But that's besides the point. Over the summer, because it's kind of like the end of summer now, but I want to say it was maybe in June. Wrestle Code made the announcement that they worked out a deal with Daffney, and that her name, likeliness, and all that was going to be part of the Wrestle Code game and all that. So I also heard that, I got to confirm, but I heard recently in the past couple of weeks she had made an appearance for a wrestling promotion. So I'm trying to find out what was going on with that. But yeah, this was definitely somebody that was still very tuned into all things that was going on with the wrestling business. Just because we might not been seeing her in the form that we've grown accustomed to. And what I mean by that is, as a wrestling fan, I had myself be accustomed to, okay, look, we're not going to be seeing her as an in-ring competitor, but just to see her and, she's being a valet for somebody or she's being a manager for somebody, hey, that's great. So it's like, okay, you're always going to be seeing her in some type of capacity and her involvement in the wrestling business and all that. That's what I mean by that. But, to right down to the point, as far as her always continuing to have her finger on the pulse, some of the last batch of stuff that she was following and liking on social media had to do with NWA. She was following what NWA was doing with their whole Empower pay-per-view. How badass would that have been to see her in some form be involved in that, whether that be as a special commentator, special hostess, would have been badass. Daffney, for me, one of those people who, I look at the sinister minister, James Mitchell. I look at him and I just go, man, under the right circumstances, why wasn't Daffney that for that one major wrestling promotion? She could have been that. And it's so weird that things didn't really blossom in a way where, you understand what I'm saying? It's kind of weird how it didn't really take off. But she was all that, and a fucking bag of chips. That girl knew how to fucking sell. She knew how to put over, whatever was going on in the ring. She knew how to put over certain emotion that she needed for the fans to have. She knew how to heighten a fucking story when it counted the most. She was a master at that. And to see that, not really a major promotion out there really had capitalized on that, is really frustrating. It really is frustrating. But, at this point, I gotta just take a swig. Cheers to Daffney. And, I'm going to close out with this. If you or someone especially if it's a loved one, you're suffering, give me a second here, guys. Give me a second here. Because this is getting on my nerves. This is getting on my nerves. You guys got to forgive me. Boom. I'm so sorry about that. But I've had this one person in the chat, and I apologize for those of you that's going to be listening to this audio on demand on the downloads. I've had this one person that's been like doing nothing but putting over MLW, and they're trying to make it seem as though I have some type of connection to them, that I'm related to them or something like that. And I'm not. This person is really creeping me out, talking about we're supposed to go to this blah, blah, blah. It's like, I've never, ever, ever. Creeping me out. My creep meter is way high. Back off. I don't know you. You're creeping me out to the point where I don't want to know you. So please leave me alone at this point, because you really creeping me out, dude. But I'm sorry about that. It's like, but this is what happens when we do a show. Now you guys kind of understand when we do subscriber only mode. Now you guys kind of understand why we usually have the subscriber only mode, because unfortunately we get a couple of bad apples. It comes with the territory. So I do appreciate you guys that's been able to, hang here up to this point, work with me and everything. But as we get ready to close this out, I just want to give you guys some final thoughts, which is this. We don't have all the answers tonight in regards to Daffney and the circumstances leading up to her taking her own life. We don't know everything right now. And I know that the wrestling community as a whole, especially with a couple of bad apples in there like a Mike Johnson and all that. Remember what happened when Brody Lee died? The demanding for answers from some of these guys, and it's like, no, we first and foremost, let's respect the family. Let's respect Daphne's mom, siblings, everybody else. Let's respect them. If they are saying, hey, respect our privacy, give us our time to grieve, let's give them that time. Let's give them that space. Let's not chase them down and force them to give us right. Like, they owe us nothing. They don't owe the fans. They don't owe members of the media. They don't owe nobody anything right now. If they want to say something, it needs to be on their terms at their respected pace. So for now, let's just give them their space. But the one thing that we can do as a wrestling community is we all can come together, and by September being Mental Health Awareness Month, reach out to that loved one that maybe you haven't talked to in a minute. Maybe that friend, that associate, what have you. Reach out to them and let them know, hey, you're not alone here. Anytime you want to talk, you want to hang out, hell, we could even Skype you if you want. You see the new Facebook commercial that's running around, where you got the guy and the girl, all they're doing is just laughing. There's no talking. They're just laughing, right? So all the beautiful technology that we got these days, but you ask me personally, nothing beats actually hanging out with your friends in person and giving them a high five, slapping them on the back, and and all that good shit, right? Me and the wifey, we just got done doing the Awesome Con panel last month. In October, we're getting ready to do the Jericho cruise. So, and from what I kind of understand, there's actually going to be a couple of people that we kind of know that's actually going to be there. So like, oh, hey, cool, right? It's like small world, but if you haven't done so in a while, reach out to that loved one and let them know you're thinking about them and everything. And if Daphne's sudden death, reminded me of anything, it's that tomorrow is not promised to anybody. The fact that we're able to wake up each day and we're able to see another sunrise, it's a blessing. And that in that blessing, we need to take full advantage of that day, seize the opportunity, and do what we can to make our respected marks on this world before our time is up, because you just don't know. And you got to say to yourself, okay, what type of legacy, what type of footprint do you want to leave behind when people bring up your name? Sometimes you kind of have to think like that. I'm not saying you want to reach for like a Nobel Peace Prize, go for it. But I'm just saying, sometimes you just got to think like that. Like, yeah, if I go out, what do I want people to say about me? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of one of those type of deals. So hug that person or pick up that phone, call that person that you ain't talked to in a while. Let them know you love them. Let them know you're thinking about them. Break it down to them. Let them know, yo, anytime you want to talk, you want to get something off your chest, you need somebody to just shut up, just listen. Hey, I'm that person. And stress to them. No judgment. Not going to bash you. Not going to throw you under the bus. I'm just going to shut up and I'm going to listen. You want to ask me for my advice after the fact? That's cool. Or you just want to vent? Okay, that's cool. Mental Health Awareness Month. You've seen this number a lot. Fucking save that number. Even if you feel you don't need it, you never know when a friend might need it. You know, because unfortunately, you've got some friends, you've got some loved ones, they feel as though they can't talk to their friends. Remember that from earlier? They can't talk to their significant other. They can't talk to, right? Keep that suicide prevention hotline handy for them, because to know that somebody is available to talk 24/7, no judgment, nothing, right? They can just fucking call, get the shit off their chest to a total stranger. To a total stranger. And let me tell you something. These motherfuckers aren't gonna rush you off the phone. This ain't no fucking 5 minute, this ain't one of them type of calls. They fucking are trained to stay with you on the phone until they feel that you no longer are posing a threat to yourself. And, if they feel that, it's getting to a point where maybe the police needs to be involved or whatever, they'll go there. They'll do that too, but you ain't gonna get rushed off the phone. This ain't no 2-minute, 5-minute job. They're with you. Until you're in a better headspace. Okay, so utilize that number. I had put it out on social media. I'll give it to you guys again, and you guys do what you do best with that number, and you save that number. But the number to call, 800-273-TALK. That's 800-273-TALK. Someone is available 24/7. Don't even matter if it's a major holiday. Somebody's always available. You can even text that number. How cool is that? Used to be a time you couldn't. You can text that number, right? So do that, and I really hope going forward that the wrestling community as a whole, I really hope that it's better. I look at what happened there with Hana Kimura and what all was being said to her on social media and everything, and then when people learned what had happened, circumstances for her taking her life, how the wrestling community, we got to be better than this. The ridicule, the hazing, the cyber bullying that she experienced. Oh, we got to be better than this. We got to be better than that. And then, to see what's going on with Daffney here and the people that have said what they've said. We don't need to go into all that again, but you get the point. I really hope that, there is a lot of good with social media. I want to close out on this note. Don't give up on social media, folks. I know a lot of you guys see some of the same stuff that I'm seeing, and it really makes you just go, why the fuck am I even bothering with social media? Because there's all kinds of nut jobs, weirdos, and trolls, and all kinds of, why am I even bothering? Just know that there are good people that's out there. You just got to be a little bit savvy how you utilize social media. If it means that when you put out posts, you control who can respond to you, such as only your followers, or right, or you only want to be able to read comments from blue checkmark people or whatever, right? It's just a matter of playing around with your settings and everything. Nobody said you had to stop social media cold turkey. Many of us want to when we see some of the toxicity that's going around, but when you see that shit go as low as it goes, I just want you guys to remember, always do your best to take the high road. And when you feel that you're about to bite into that negative apple like everybody else, that's when you just got to take a step back and you got to just say, I'm done with social media for today, right? I know you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You guys feel me where I'm coming from. Appreciate the kind words there by Daniel. Thank you. Daniel saying good conversation. Always look forward to your discussions. Hey, hopefully this helps somebody out tonight. Hopefully this, reaches the right people. And, look, I can't stress it enough. I'm not being paid for this. I've already been paid. I just came home from work, literally. I had a quick bite to eat. I wanted to, get here with you guys, talk this out, offer people a place where they can, give their thoughts and everything. And for those of you that's going to be checking this out on demand and on the downloads, please, you all are definitely more than welcome to, offer your thoughts, your favorite Daffney moments, all of that. Hopefully this helped you. And if it did, if you want to do anything for me, hit a like. Do that, it'll maybe help reach out to that next person that will stumble upon this as a result of you hitting that like button. Maybe they might be having a bad moment. They see this video, they hear a lot of the stuff that's being said. We had a couple of jokes here and there tonight. Hopefully it kind of puts a smile on their face, has them believe in that word called optimism, has them believe in that word called hope, and keep pushing forward, always forward, as I like to say. So that's going to do it, beautiful people. At this point, I won't be back with you guys again until Sunday. AEW All Out. That's when I'll be with you guys again. I would imagine AEW is definitely going to do a nice little tribute, little package for Daffney. So that should be pretty good to see. You can get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. And until next go round, please, wishing all you all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. And I will catch you all next go round. Y'all take care. Adios.